they give you up to $10,000 of coverage per item. So this is a huge distinction between consumer cards that have some of these protections and business cards. If you buy a piece of gear and the original manufacturer's warranty is 3 years or less, we'll add 1 additional year warranty on time. Hey everyone, Michael Guastamacchio here, CEO and co-founder of MediaZilla, and we're continuing our series with how to help members become more successful. And in that regard, we're going to go over a few more tips, tricks, tools that you can deploy with hopefully resources that you may already have. So today we're going to start with kind of a concept of helping to protect gear that you maybe recently purchased or you're thinking about purchasing. So specifically with this use case, we're going to go over the one of the Chase Inc. business cards. So we'll go through different examples, but today we just want to focus on one specific example. So Chase Inc. Unlimited card. This is a very common card that a lot of small business owners will own. It has a lot of protections. It's a free card. They have some great sign-up bonuses and things like that. So the way you can access this section, if you go log into your account, you'll see a little drop-down that says card benefits. And that's a screen we're looking at right now. So there's kind of two, at least with this card, there's really two main benefits that come with it specifically towards gear and how this and protections that might really benefit people who are wedding filmmakers, event filmmakers, people who operate dance studios, theater studios, anybody who's purchasing, expensive gear. So the first part of it is, we'll call it purchase protection. So that's one of the things they specifically call out. And really what they're looking at is this is the time period from the date of purchase up until about 120 days. So call it 4 months, give or take. So the first thing that's really awesome is that with Chase, they give you up to $10,000 of coverage per item. So this is a huge distinction between, let's say, consumer cards that have some of these protections and business cards. Typically, right off the bat, the limits are much higher. So as you guys know, you could easily spend more than a few $1,000s on a camera body, on a lens, on a computer. The value of these gear items are much higher. So that's where business cards a lot of times are much more beneficial. And with Chase specifically, their limits start out very high. Like we can see $10,000 right here. The other part to note is also giving you 120 days. Some other providers, there's pros and cons, but some only provide you with 90 days. So this is just something to take into consideration, especially on a free credit card, which is pretty awesome. So what are we talking about here? So specifically, we're looking at things that happen within this first 120 days where, theft might take place. Maybe your gear gets stolen, unfortunately. It gets damaged. It gets lost, not because you did anything wrong, but things happen, as we know. And then they're specifically calling out, really technically this coverage is secondary. So if you have any other type of coverage through maybe your homeowners or renter policy, some type of other policy it might cover, this is secondary to that. And you can see there's different restrictions for state specifically New York that we're looking at here. And then you can kind of look at per item and per account. They're looking at what the actual coverage goes over. So the cost to actually repair the item, to replace it, kind of the max coverage that it noted above there. And then they're kind of giving you some exclusion. So it's always good. I know this is really nerdy stuff, but it's good to read this so you really are an informed consumer. So things like antiques, collectibles, perishables, software, things that are covered maybe by another policy. So if it's shipped by the Postal Service, boats, cars, aircraft, things like that, anything you're purchasing for resale, what they call mysteriously disappearing. So, if you just kind of make up a claim, they're probably not going to cover that. And anything that's so that's something really cool to consider. And then the other item also that I think is really worth noting is extended warranty. So you guys can probably attest this, but with a lot of credit cards, they include this benefit for free. So it's not like you have to pay an additional fee. This is actually just a perk of having this card. So again, in this instance, we're talking about the Chase Inc. Unlimited business card. So we can just kind of walk through this. So what they're saying is, hey, we extend the manufacturer's warranty by an additional year, assuming that the original warranty was 3 years or less. So basically what they're saying is, if you buy a piece of gear and the original manufacturer's warranty is 3 years or less, we'll add 1 additional year warranty on time, which is pretty awesome. I think a lot of things fall under this, 3 years or less. A lot of times the warranties only might last a year. Like typically on Apple products, especially MacBooks, it's 1 year. And after that, you're kind of on your own. So you either have to buy Apple Care or another third-party service. So this is something pretty cool that's included again for free. And this might actually give you some real savings. So we'll quickly kind of walk through. And again, this isn't, in the weeds, every single little line item, every single use case. So we encourage people to kind of share if you have actual stories of things that have worked, things that haven't worked. That's great. But at least want to kind of start the conversation here. So you can kind of see, we already talked about it extends the manufacturer's warranty by 1 year. Basically we'll cover whatever the combination of is, either to repair or replace this, and then they're going to do their assessment. And again, going back to the coverage amount, this is one thing that's really great about business cards, and specifically Chase, is they're giving you $10,000 worth of coverage. So you've probably seen this benefit on other cards, but a lot of times it's very low. It might be $1,000, it might be $500. That's not going to get you very far on a $5,000 Nikon camera, or a really expensive lens or an expensive editing computer, things like that. And you kind of see similar things. Hey, what's covered if we needed to repair the item, to replace it with a similar quality. And then again, that same exhaustive list, kind of similar to what we saw before. So, some major exclusion. Okay, if you buy a boat or an automobile or something that's motorized, that's one item. If you're a reseller, again, computer software, it's hard to replace that. Medical equipment, if you're renting items, or if anything is pre-owned. So so take a look. If you guys, again, just to recap, if you guys have any of the Chase Ink cards, I think this also applies to the Ink Cash. I'll do a separate video just to confirm the limitations because there's other ink cards out there, and we'll do other ones covering American Express and Capital One and, Wells Fargo and BofA. There are a lot of business cards out there, but we just want to focus on one specific use case, a card that you may already have in your wallet, and a benefit that you might or might not be aware of. So let me know in the comments if this was helpful. If you have any stories to share about if you ever actually had to file a claim, that'd be great. But share whatever you can, whatever information you can with the community, and I hope this helps. All right, take care.